Live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wellness Week Live. I am your host, DJ Anthony. Literally, I'm a real DJ. People don't believe it, but I am. And I have a special guest. I've been trying to get him for a while. Our people were talking to his people. We made it happen. So let me give you the resume. I mean, it's too long, but I'll break it down real quick. So father, husband, entrepreneur, businessman. He's got a lot on his plate. My special guest today, Adam San Miguel. Thanks for making time for Wellness Week.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I was just saying off camera. You're making me look like you're the host of the show. This guy looks too good. So I got a headset that you taught me some tricks about the editing. Now look at this. So, anyways, thanks for coming on, man. And I wanted to have you on because I oftentimes like having people on that look. In some respect, we're all everyday people. Whatever, we all have family and friends and spouses and kids and one of the things, so that's impressive to me that, you're taking care of your health, you particularly. And most people, I think, don't. And it doesn't have to be some like, oh, Adam or Anthony or John or Jane, they're just so special. I mean, in a way, it's special, but in a way, it's not. So I wanted to have you on to talk about how does a father, husband, a business owner, how do you keep it together? How do you take care of your health and wellness in these busy times? Like I said, you have a lot on your plate. So you're motivating me. So I wanted to kind of get into the nuts and the bolts and the nuts of it of what do you do? So that's a lot. How you doing, by the way?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'll give everyone the 30-second commercial of sort of who I am, what I do. Full time, I work for Google. Part time, I have this coffee shop that I founded with a partner of mine. I met him through a nonprofit that I still run and found. So those are the three main pillars of my professional life, if you will. The last and sort of more part time is I'm a reservist in the U.S. Coast Guard. So between my professional endeavors and projects, I do keep myself busy. The most important thing on my plate is obviously, like you just said, being a father and a husband. So those things, personal time goes there. So the way you and I spoke just a minute ago, sort of prepping for this was, how do we stay, fit or healthy while balancing all these things that we have, all individuals have going on, right? Between our professional engagements and personal lives, there's really not a lot of time to prioritize wellness. But so I'm glad we're having this conversation. I think it's important. So it's very timely, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, Adam, listen, people like to throw around, what do you call it? People like to throw around, what do you call it? We have a pandemic and all that stuff, and that's true. But I often say, we have not only an epidemic and a pandemic, but we have an epidemic of obesity, an epidemic of diabetes in this country, type 2, that doesn't have to happen. So people want to talk about epidemics, so yeah, thank you. It is a very apropos and poignant time to talk about this stuff, because a lot of the diseases and deaths that happen don't have to happen. And there are loved ones that are struggling and dying of things that it doesn't have to be. So, by the way, and also you forgot to add, Adam, you were all-star running back. So
wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, wide receiver. And you got some college, right? At Monmouth,
correct.
Right?
Yeah, I was a captain. Monmouth University football, broke school records for career receptions and single season. Number 2 on those lists, I think, was my friend Miles Austin of the Dallas Cowboys back when he played there. So we played some good ball, and I really learned a lot of good fundamentals about staying healthy and staying fit just from osmosis, being around some good players and having people train me on how to train myself and my body.
Right. And it's funny, I had my co-host on Wednesdays, his name is Magnus, and he also was actually a semi-pro professional football player out in Europe. Okay. But yeah, so I have a lot of receivers and running backs that come on the show. Anyway, but the reason why I wanted to say that too is also, you have kids, but I always tell parents that one of the best things that you can do for your kid is insist that they play sports throughout their life. From 1 year old to 18, there's no options. Pick a sport. I don't care if it's ping pong. You got to do it, right? I mean, that builds. Oh, I just lost you. Come on, man. What happened to you?
I don't know. Hold on.
Uh-oh. They know the interview is going too well. It's going too hot. They're trying to.
What? No, this happened before too.
That's all right. But yeah, no, I mean, I'll keep it yapping. But yeah, I mean, we can hear you though too, so that's all right. There you go. Yeah. No, but I mean, like, it's the best thing we can do for our kids. Is I know I don't have to tell you. I always say academics prepares you for a job. Sports prepares you for life.
That's great. I couldn't have said that better.
Yeah, I mean, so all right. Now I want to respect your time because I know we got about a half hour. So all right. So what do you typically eat? Because like I said, you got a lot on your plate. What is the nuts and bolts of this? So what do you typically eat for breakfast, generally speaking? Go ahead.
Yep. No, so I'll answer that question. Let me just give a framework to even before
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Go ahead, man.
I think the framework, the foundational components are for people. Myself, I do it is to visualize who you want to be, right? And I don't mean like a profession. I don't mean a title, an astronaut. No, I mean
Right.
like what is your being? What do you want your being to be? And when most people answer that question, they don't want to be unhealthy. They don't want to lack energy. They don't want to not be able to play with kids and just run around a little bit, right? We're human. We're meant to be walking, running, and sweating in some form or fashion, right? So with that foundation, you have to create that vision for yourself, and then naturally you have to take the steps and apply the practices that will help you get there. So for me, it starts with an early morning, and to just get to your point, my breakfast is typically a protein shake after a workout with a banana after that.
Okay. So yeah.
Very light.
Right. Okay. And then so you get to the breakfast. Now I know. So what do you typically eat for lunch?
So a lunch will probably be a chicken salad for the most part, Monday through Friday. It could be some garbanzos in there, it could be
Right.
some beans, but usually I'm trying to get greens and some sort of protein in there,
Lean
keeping it light.
lean meats, right? And right. Well, funny you mentioned salad. I've I like salad, but for so long I haven't been eating salad, and I was just reading countless articles of how important it is to get the roughage, to get green, and so same thing. I've been incorporating salad at least 4 days a week into my diet. So yeah, kudos to you. That's important. And by the way, I know you know this because you're a father, but you don't even have to tell your kids. They watch what mommy and daddy eats, and that enough said.
Enough
So
said.
if we have good habits just by osmosis, they're going to have it. But if we're living on soda and cake and cookies and bread pasta sitting, they're going to do the same thing. All right. So what is a typical dinner for you? Like what would you typically eat for dinner?
Yeah, my wife, she'll probably throw down some salmon that we have, potatoes, veggies. We try and get some veggies in,
Yep.
and if it's not a salmon, it's probably another fish or another light meat. So it could be another chicken if we have it, if we double up on chicken with different seasoning, or it could be some steak as well. But we try and do veggies and a piece of fish.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing I think people forget. I think our country is predominantly a lot of just, either red meats or chicken, but we forget, yeah, there's fish, there's salmon.
Yep.
And by the way, I mean, I know you know this, but you can get salmon in packets from, Starkist Tuna or whatever. So if you're on the run, you can still get those omega-3 fatty acids. So also I wanted to touch a little bit about your cafe. And I was saying to you, your cafe, you probably thought about this, but I just hit me. I was like, wait a second, your cafe and other eateries and places like that, they're a place actually of wellness because aside from eating and drinking food, where but it's a place where people come together. Now I've been to your cafe, and it's really a place of like you feel the life, the energy. As I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember when I came over there and I parked a few blocks away. The closer I got to the cafe, I mean, you just like heard the life, heard people laughing and talking, and I was like, wow, it's intoxicating. I stayed there longer than I even planned because you want to be in a place like that where people are sharing ideas and talking. I was talking to two strangers. It was great, but that's what we need. And it's unfortunate because, this is tearing us apart. And as much as it's, social media, it's social, it's, it's not bad, but really a place like yours is a place where people, again, you come together, you sit face to face, you shake a hand, you give a hug. That's health and wellness. So yeah, kudos to you, and I encourage anyone that's in the area. What's the address of the cafe?
Yeah. So good. Just to echo a few things you said. The number one, limiting monitoring and being conscious of your screen time. To your point, right? To this is very important nowadays. It's something you have to have a conceptual framework on. Like you can't just go using it at will because it'll pull you in, right? It'll pull you into more and more hours, more and more scrolling, more and more clicking, liking, etc. And so you have to have a conscious plan around that and say, here's my limits, my framework, and that's what I'm gonna live within. To the other point, I'm here at the cafe now, and so yeah, not only just getting together and people sort of congregating. You can see there's a good crowd here, people ordering their things, but we also got this window concept where you can come and sit and read a book and think, right? So you see this kind of like outdoor indoor concept, and that's really what we think does promote, to your point, that the wellness of the mind, right? We just talked about the physicality and what you feed your body, but also you got to feed your mind and be conscious of what's going in and out from this as well, right? Because that's really where it all stems from.
100%. We were just talking about this, and you kind of alluded to it with what you're eating and stuff. The more I read about the gut, stomach, brain connection, what we eat can make us happy, can make us sad, can affect our mood. Doctors are learning, nutritionists are learning so much more about that, and also the ancillary items, like you said, being in a social setting. I don't know about you, Adam, but this whole lockdown for God knows how long, 2 years or so, it's wreaked havoc on my mind because I can't you can't shake a hand, you can't give a hug,
I know.
people don't come out. I mean, when we were in the height of this pandemic, I'm sure I speak for everybody. I mean, it was tough, and if you don't have your crap together, you're going to lose it, and a lot of people did,
100%.
you know. And
100%.
so I took for granted even just saying, "Hey, thank you," and picking up my coffee. I was like, "Whoa." Like I didn't realize how important just a hello and a goodbye was. So again, back to like, you know, your cafe, it has that je ne sais quoi, that life, that hustle, that bustle, that people are saying hello, goodbye, excuse me, you know, like even that is just so yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, I'll echo what you're saying, because I think there's a call to action on that point you just made, and a meaningful one that I feel deeply. So I think someone like you and me, to your point, it I think affects everyone. But someone like you, who's so mentally quick and mentally agile, you bounce back quick. I think my call to action here, what I want to get to, is I've noticed people who are 60, 70, 80 plus, right? They don't bounce back as quick from this month, 6 months, 12 months, 2 year long isolation. I've noticed when I've seen them afterwards, they're slower, they're more down, the energy levels are low. So the call to action is, if you have some elder people in your life, making sure you get back in the habit of seeing them ASAP, as long as it's safe under those conditions, right? Whatever masks or vaccination policies or frameworks you subscribe to, apply them, but make sure you bring them back into the social sort of sphere, because they are the ones that are really affected. I mean that sincerely. I had like,
yeah.
I'm on a couple boards of nonprofits, some elderly guys are on there, and I just see them like a little bit slower, processing a little bit slower, sort of a little bit more, into they've aged faster over those 2 years. So call to action is, if you got some elderly folks in your circle, bring them back, bring them some life, and go visit them and take them to a cup of coffee.
100%. And even in the best of times, right, we
Agree.
see elderly people are widowed, or they just, yeah, you know, they're not out and about as much, and it will kill you. And
Literally.
unfortunately, we're seeing that with young people too, because they think life is this. You know, Adam, there was an article 2 weeks ago, I think it was the New York Times or the New York Post, but it was saying that young people in their 20s and 30s are essentially having less romance, if you know what I mean. And I was like, well, how could that be? And the article talked about, this is before the pandemic. There's three things. One, too much video gaming. Two, too much social media. And three, too much binge watching. And that is what is literally stopping young people from hooking up. Now, I mean, you know, and it sounds like, oh, you know, well, that's a good thing. Maybe they're not sleeping around. But after you get past, you know, the low hanging fruit and the joke of that, it's like, yeah, but they're not going out either. They are not they're not socializing. This is not good. And it's not even
dehumanizing. Yeah.
This is just regular, like, because they're caught up on social media and binge watching and playing. I know guys in their 20s and 30s, they play video games for like 5-6 hours a day, and these are professionals. I'm like, yo, dude.
Yeah, I know. No, it's an issue. It's definitely an issue, and people, like we said, we have to monitor screen time. We have to monitor what you're connected to. We got to monitor. You have to be conscious of it, and if you're not, it's just gonna change who you are without you knowing.
Right. Now, you mentioned the word plan a couple times. So I think that's so appropriate. So I'm assuming you have a general plan in your mind about your week or your month, or
of course,
same for your kids, I guess, right? So that's important, because I think a lot of us don't do that. We go through life or go through the week, and this is how we get in trouble, right? We start eating poorly, or we start getting into bad habits. Yeah, get a cappuccino for me, please. And un tazzo. Oh, I was going to speak in Italian.
Un cortadito.
Pero no problema. All right, so I like to work whenever I can. So
to your point on planning, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, so let's talk about that. I mean, so yeah, when you say planning, I mean, what does that look like? Because people might think, oh, I got to get the chalkboard out.
Correct.
I mean, maybe you do. So I don't know.
People get very turned off by the concept of planning in general, right? They're like, well, why do I have to plan? Why do I have to, the general understanding of that is to your point about sports earlier, right? Sports teaches you how to live. You didn't just show up to a game and expect to win, right? Maybe when you're 7 years old you did, but when you get to the higher levels and you start advancing and taking the sport seriously to try and win, to try and better yourself, to try and win championships,
right?
Obviously, planning is paramount to that, right? You game plan, you plan all year, you plan for yourself, your own personal diet, you plan how your body wants to look and feel, and your speed and all this other stuff. So planning, when you apply it outside of football, is still paramount. It's not like you just stop playing sports and you stop planning. No, you have to plan for your own financial life. You have to plan in for your physical and health, and you have to plan this stuff and at least have a conceptual framework of generally when and what you eat. Not that you have to have it written down and say, okay, it's 12 o'clock. Oh shit, I have to eat that bowl of rice or something. No, but you have to understand, I gotta get my veggies in today. I gotta get some greens in today. Today I want to make sure I monitor that afternoon snack that always catches up to me, right? For me, it's end of the night. I get to the end of the night, and I really do feel hungry because I've spent so much energy doing so much stuff, and so I have to be conscious of that evening snack, right? How much am I having? What am I having? Am I even having it? So just having a general framework, not details. The details are better, but if it turns you off to have the details, just having the general framework of what you will eat, when you will eat it, when that cheat meal's coming, who it's going to be with, right? You can even plan that out and say like, oh, I can't wait to go to the restaurant I haven't tried yet. Go chow on that burger that I haven't tried yet. There's my cheat meal. Other than that, I'm going to stay within this general framework, which is, veggies, meats, fruits, etc. Right?
Right.
Staying away from processed food. When I see a processed food, it should be triggering something that says, "Whoa, wait a minute, is this in the plan or not?" Right? That's the biggest one that I see is the problem, is the processed food.
Bro, and here's the thing though. I was guilty of this. I don't think a lot of people fully understand what processed food is. I think a lot of people think, well, like I bought bread and that's not processed. That's bread, right? And they think processed is like, they think processed is like, maybe the candy bar, but they don't see like bread is processed, or like, oh no, I'm eating a fruit bar. That's not processed, it's fruit. But no, it is anything. It is processed, yeah. I always say it's God-made versus man-made. So a banana is not processed, but a banana bar, that's processed.
That's processed.
Apple juice, it's not good for you. It's processed. An
Correct.
apple is good for you because it's not been touched. God made it. Man made the apple juice. So that's my rule of thumb, is God made versus man made. If man had his hands on it somehow, try to stay away from it. All right, let me ask you this. Going back to having a plan, here's my theory. Tell me what you think. All right, a lot of people don't have a plan, not because they can't do it. It's, I think, subconsciously they're afraid to have a plan, because when you have a plan, then you have power. And when you have power over your own life, that could be kind of scary. It's like, I'm in charge? Me?
You have agency? Yeah, you have agency in this process? Yeah.
Right. I know a lot of people who don't like that. They'd rather just be like, I don't know, it's genetic. I don't know, it's genetic. Meanwhile, they've never taken a genetic test. They just like to throw it out there. Yeah, that's my favorite one too. It's it's genetic. How do you know? Did you take a DNA test? Do you have the paperwork to prove that it's genetic? You don't. Okay, stop. But my thing is, so what do you think about that? People are afraid to take the reins of their life and take control. I don't know. I think people are afraid.
No, I see two parts to it. I think one is what you said, right? There's a fear of all that agency and being able to take ownership, right? To say the results of what I have now is because of my own action or lack of, and that is scary to some people. I agree with you. The other is some people just lack the basic, I'd say education on that, because for me, I consider myself fortunate and in fact blessed, right? I've gone through many serious training programs to get to an elite level. Or somewhat of an elite level of physical shape, and that included a diet, that included a regimented workout. So I take that for granted sometimes when I apply this lens of like, oh, you don't have it because whatever reasons. Until I was 22 years old or 23, I was training with guys who were going pro, and I was training with trainers who put programs in front of you that you had to follow strictly, right? And show up for weigh-ins and show up for testing of speed and strength. And so it was very regimented. So if you are one of those people who hasn't had the fortune of giving this guidance or giving this education around fitness and wellness, I encourage you to look into group classes. I encourage you to look into personal trainers. I encourage you to invest the time and the money into your health, because it's a benefit to you in the end. So some people are scared to throw down that membership because they might not go back, but you have to, where you invest, that's where you're going to see the results, right? It's like the grass is greener, not where you over there or somewhere else, but where you water it. So water where you want it to grow,
100%. It's funny you mentioned that too, and people, you get this probably a lot. People are like, well, I ain't got the money for that. I ain't got the money. Okay, hold on. You just bought the latest iPhone. You're going on vacation for 4 weeks. You got 72 pairs of shoes.
Right.
You don't got the money to spend $200 on a nutritionist or dietitian or a trainer or get into. But
those priorities,
right. Accountability too. I find I do better when I join classes versus just I can't work out in a gym by myself. I need to know thyself, right? So if I know that I'm that type of person, which I am, I cannot be by myself. I need to be in a group, like whether it be karate or tennis program or something where because then there's accountability there. So,
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Let me ask you, so kind of rewind a little bit. You talked about, you're in your 20s and you're part of these programs, and me too. My whole life I played sports, but like growing up, my parents weren't like, all right, son, go out and run and we're going to eat right. No. They were good parents, but nobody. So like when you were growing up, how did you get turned on to health and nutrition? Was
That's
it?
true. No, that's true because there's the other side to the coin. You're right. I mean, I had the trainers when I was, high school and college, but or growing up, I always sort of laugh at your parents didn't. My parents didn't know anything about any of this stuff. It was just like they would just their job was to bring me to the field, and
Yeah,
if I got
mine.
if I got to the field in one piece, they did their job, right? So I
Yeah,
remember
mine too. Okay,
I
so your
remember
parents didn't really like not the
No, no. I mean, my parents are both Cuban, so like raising my grandparents used to cook a lot, and that was just like heavy rice, beans, fried stuff, steaks and things like that, which isn't necessarily all bad, but for the most part, it's heavy foods, right? So,
right.
um, my pregame meal as a 10-year-old was like a donut or something, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever we
yeah,
can
yeah.
just get out the door. So yeah, to your right, to your point, many people don't have that foundation, but it's upon us to go seek that foundation and create, to my earlier point, vision of what you want to look and feel like, and go out and seek the practices and the people and the guidance that you need to get there.
Right. Well, your kids are lucky to have you and your wife that you're going to take it to the next level. Obviously, like my parents
Yep,
too. My family are immigrants from Italy. Right. It was pasta bread, pasta bread, pasta bread,
exactly.
pasta bread, pasta bread. I mean, very little vegetable, very, right. No, but I mean, these are all sugars, and we grew up kind of poor. I mean, we definitely didn't have a lot, like a lot of families. But and by the way, I'm a Hudson County guy too. Before I
I
moved
know.
to Bergen County, but
Yeah, I know
yeah,
this.
so North Bergen, baby, you know how we do.
Yep, yep.
Oh, yeah, you're a North Bergen guy too. All right,
Up
so
Bergen.
that's right. Oh, but I was North Bergen before you were because I'm older than you. So, all right. But no, but you know what? Let me ask you this though. So I will say this though. Going back to our kids watch what we do and don't do. I will say, like you, my father was a veteran, Vietnam War vet, Air Force vet, and he would do some exercises and things like early on in his life. As a child, I did see that, and I kind of caught that
Okay.
bug. But what my father for the most of his life, he was not in good shape. Like after the military, he kind of just like a lot of people, whatever.
Yep.
But my point is, the little bit that I did see my father do, like, he goes cycling once in a while, or he goes fishing, or he's up and moving. That as a child, I was in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that too. So I think when your kids see, oh, daddy's exercising or mommy's exercising, or wow, we're eating right, you don't even have to tell them. They're just going to absorb that. So let me ask, so did your parents, like, were they like, I don't know, did they do some
No.
type of?
No, not really. No, I think it's upon each generation to create some new, take the good from before, strip out some of the bad, and then keep adding to the good. And I think that's how humanity progresses in many ways. For me and my personal family, this is, I think, one thing that I'm probably going to add to my, my family's legacy. Yeah. And so it's funny, just a quick anecdotal, funny story. My daughter, who's 3.5, she tells me sometimes at night, because she still doesn't understand the concept that I wake up really early and work out. I'm a 4:35 a.m. guy. She'll tell me the night before. She said, in English, we speak to her in Spanish, but I'll translate. She'll say, "Daddy, no going out tonight for you." And I'm like, "What do you mean going out?" She thinks, because she wakes up in the morning, and sometimes I'm not there. I'm coming back at 6:30, 7 a.m. when they're already getting ready. I'm coming back from the gym or from meeting or something. And I'm like, no, I don't go out the night before. I wake up early and I go to the gym and work out. And she's like, "No going out tonight." I'm like, "It's Tuesday night." I'm like, "There's nowhere to,"
funny.
So it's funny.
They're so much smarter than we think, too. By the way,
Agree. But to your point, I hope the psyche's getting into her. I hope it's getting into her psyche that I exercise. My wife today, my wife went to it was her turn to go in the morning. So she's like, "Where's mommy? She went out last night." I'm like, "No, she just woke up early and she went to the gym."
Right. Who's telling you this? Daddy, are you clubbing again? What?
Yeah, right. Are you clubbing on a Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Like.
But that is funny. Yeah, but no, to your point. I mean, even at 3, I mean, they are. I by the way, so I don't know if you know, but so I compete in tennis tournaments and I coach tennis.
Didn't know. I know you coach, but I didn't know you compete.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not Serena Williams, but I go out there, get my ass kicked. Anyway, but when I coach kids, and I'm coaching right now, like at 5 and 6, like they are, to your point, they're so perceptive that they absorb everything. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to explicitly tell them something for them to learn about nutrition and health and whatever. Let me ask you this. So I probably know the answer, but okay. So this is the other thing, going back to what we consume, because we are what we eat, and food is medicine. I always say, don't drink your calories, or don't drink crap. Essentially, it's one thing once in a while to have whatever. So what do you?
Water.
Okay.
If I can give,
drink.
there's a couple practical things if they want to take away from the conversation. The one is prioritizing early wake up. That's the foundation. Your time is the only, before 7 is the only time you get from my life.
Yeah, you got 2 young ones.
Yeah, and most people have their job. They get home from their job and they get pulled into some sort of networking thing. Other than pandemic times, they watch a show and it's time to go to bed roughly, right? So it's tough to get in important things that are for you in the afternoon. It's very tough in anyone's life. Wait, when you have kids, borderline impossible. You got to choose your kids or that whatever you're trying to do. So the morning, take that. And win the morning. But to your point, an easy tip that's just you just got to cut out anything that's not water, unless it's like a beverage at night or a weekend. You're having a glass of wine or you like beers, whatever your thing is. Isolate that to 1, 2 times a week if you have to have it. But other than that, there's nothing else to liquid to put in your drink, other than maybe protein shake. Right? I do a protein shake,
No,
but
I get it.
I'm talking about with a meal. Water, 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 water all day. You'll shave so many calories without even knowing it. All the sugar that's in a Coca-Cola, all the sugar that's in a
Oh my
Snapple, the
God.
juices. We don't even
Ah,
give. And even for my daughters, we try to have them only have water as well. And it's just like you're right. You're having liquid calories like that is just a waste because there's not much benefit to it if there is any at all. Right? If you're gonna just make a shake of vegetables and fruits, okay, it's great, but don't go out and get the processed drinks. Don't go out and
yeah.
get the waters all day. Waters all day,
Now,
all day.
I am that all day long too, and echoing what you said. And I will trick myself though sometimes. So because water's water, but I'll do like a flavored seltzer, or they have a thing called Mio. You can buy them at the supermarkets, and they're flavors. You just
Yep,
squirt
dump
it
them in the
into
water. Yep.
0 calories. There's no whatever, and to encourage myself to keep on drinking water. But to your point, yeah, because people think like, well, juice, apple juice or orange
No.
juice, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yep.
My thing is it's loaded with sugar. There's no fiber.
It is.
So you're better off eating the orange. Don't
Correct.
drink the orange. But yeah, so you're a water guy, right? And this, but water is obviously it's essential, but so good for everything. Your brain,
So good for
skin,
everything.
muscle.
First thing I do when I wake up, the first thing I consume is a bottle of water before anything in the morning. Hydrate my body, cleanse it, and and be ready for the day.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, do you hear this man? Okay, he's a father. He's got kids. He's a husband. He's a veteran. I didn't even know you were a veteran. I turned my eyes. I turned around for 3 seconds. You're serving the country. God bless. I mean, you got a lot, and you're on boards, all this stuff. So I don't want to hear people say I'm busy. Listen, you hear this? Adam is here. He's busy too. He's making it happen. I own multiple businesses. I got a family. I got life too. Well, you can do it, and we need to do it because your life depends on it. You owe it to your family. You owe it to yourself. You should not have to be. I'm tired. I'm sick. It doesn't have to be that way, man.
Amen.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And don't even get me started. You said amen. Don't get me started because no. And listen. I'm a God-fearing man. I go to church. Some of the biggest offenders are the religious people, like in my case, Christians. They'll be like, "You're right, this and that and preaching," but I'm like, you are destroying your body. You don't shut up. Don't even preach. Don't. You're drinking this and that. Like, if you want to do that, like, yeah, honor God. Our body's a temple, right? Like,
yep.
And again, by the way, before we close, I don't want to make it all like, oh man, all this health stuff. Which, by the way, a lot of people think, oh, if you eat healthy, you're gonna have a horrible life. I say, no. If you eat healthy, you're going to be happier. I don't even call it health. You eat premium. I always say, don't put crap gasoline into the Ferrari. Our bodies are Ferraris. You put the highest octane. You don't put crap in the Ferrari. Our bodies are more valuable than a Ferrari.
Agree.
So, right. Thank you. Let me ask you, okay, in closing, what I was going to say was so my other question to you was about the drinking. Oh, what is a typical, I guess if you want to call it like a weekend or a sweet treat that you give yourself? Because I know we're talking about all this stuff, and no one's saying never have a piece of cake, but what's a typical sweet treat or something that you like to indulge in?
I like these Cuban pastries we have here at Cortaditos on 45th and Park Avenue, Union City. They're called pastelitos de guayaba. So they're pastries with guayaba inside, which is guava, and they're really, 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 really delicious. So today usually is my cheat day for one like little snack because it's a coffee/bakery, right? So if you work here and you're here a lot and you give in to all the smells and the aromas, you're gonna be overweight and not in shape. So I give myself one day a week to have one little item, and that's my pick, guava pastry.
Okay, cool. So do you drink coffee or no?
I do. Yeah, I have a little espresso shot here and there. I do more of it from the sharing perspective, and I was gonna say in the Spanish word compartir. So I like to sit with someone and converse over a cup of coffee. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then that again goes back to the wellness too. Me too. I always every week I'm lining up coffee dates. I call them with friends because it's not about really the coffee. It's a means to an end.
Correct,
it's about
correct.
connecting, about
Correct.
staying healthy, about
Correct.
feeding our souls and our minds. So yeah, for me, a cheat would be kind of the same, similar. Like I like cake. I'm a sweet tooth kind of guy. So it would be like, cake or cookie. I love chocolate chips. I do have coffee every day, but I do no sugar black, and by the way, it took me a long time to get there because I was 4 sugars and crema and azúcar and all that stuff. But slow. That's the other thing. I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of cold turkey anything. I think people do better, generally speaking, of course, with just slowly changing our lifestyle. Some people it might work go cold turkey, but
I think you got to know yourself. Some people are very hot and cold. I know people who just cut things off, and I'm like, how the hell did you do that? They're like, well, I just stopped smoking. And I'm like, you're fine. Like, yeah. So you got to know yourself. If you're that person who's hot and cold, turn the switch off, or when turn the switch off. But if not, you got to have progression. That's the point. You got to have progression. So I had 4 sugars, then it's 3, then it's 2, and then I get used to the taste of coffee. And I'm actually now I'm drinking coffee for the taste of the coffee, right? And I can tell the flavors, right? Is it hazelnut? What country is it coming from, right? What type of espresso blend is? And you get into that, and that's an interesting thing. So I also don't have. I usually don't add any sugar to my coffee. The one thing I have been experimenting with is a little bit of honey, which is a little bit a little bit more healthy than just refined sugar.
Right.
But for the most part, I drink my coffee black, just like you said.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. All right. So now, thanks, man. I know we're at time here. I want to respect your time, but just give us the location of the cafe. I love the cafe, folks. I've been down there. When I was there, I was in my mind, Adam, I was like, I'm only coming for a half hour, bro. I was there for like 10 hours.
No, we're live. We're here. We're live. I got some people coming here too. 45th Street and Park Avenue. You can see, give you the sign. Can I get the Cortadito sign there?
Do it, man.
Walk onto the street.
Highly recommend it.
There you go. There it is.
Yeah, man. You guys, that's an awesome place and much success. I hope you open up some more because my goal in life is to like live upstairs from the cafe.
So the aroma's gonna wake you up.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Yeah, man. Adam, I appreciate you making time. Anything else you want to add before we sign off officially?
No, I hope these folks take some practical actions from what you and I shared here, and so. Thanks for doing what you do. It's a positive message, and we got to keep spreading it. So, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Anthony.
Dude, thanks for making time, Adam. Say hello to everybody. We'll cross paths. Thanks, everybody.
Later, brother.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. Bye-bye now.